Welcome to toy-polloi. Pocket Money Memories.
Hello and welcome to toy-polloi and episode 4 of Pocket Money Memories. When I started this series, I wasn't really sure that people would be interested enough to send in their videos, but it seems that you all really do like seeing other people talking about their childhood toys and things that they remember saving up for. So let's crack on with episode 4 of Pocket Money Memories.
So my parents were so amazing when I was growing up. Well, they're still amazing. I didn't really need any pocket money or anything because whenever I showed any interest in any toys or presents or treats, they'd always, indulge me because I was such a good little girl. I was very respectful, very kind, and I always listened to my parents. So I went with my mom to our neighborhood mom and pop shop run corner store, and out the counter were these guys! These Lost World Jurassic Park crazy straws. Crazy straws. Do you guys remember crazy straws? This is the 90s. Parents hated these straws. Kids are drinking their chocolate milk and stuff and get all these little crusties in here they can never get out. I don't know what it was about the straw, but I wanted it so bad. Maybe because it was like a little dinosaur pet, little Parasaurolophus up here. I don't know if you can tell, but I kind of like dinosaurs. I was all like, please, but my mom was like, no, it's a no-go. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come back here, I'm gonna buy the straw myself with my own money that I don't have. So I had a garage sale in my house. I grabbed items from my room and from around the house, flipped over a cardboard box and started selling items from nickels and dimes to my siblings and my parents. And my parents were nice enough to buy some, so I had a little bit of change. And I thought, this straw can't be like more than $1, right? Turns out the straw was like $5. I wasn't even close. So I tried one last time. I go, please, but no, it wasn't happening. So as my mom was checking out through the cashier, I grabbed the straw and I put it in my underwear. I stole it. My older siblings found out my dirty little secret and they told me I could get the death penalty. Siblings, they're great, right? Oh, siblings. I was inconsolable and I was so scared, not only for my life, but also I let my parents down and they told me how disappointed they were and I was really, truly sorry. Next day I went to the corner store with my mom along with this damn straw and the correct amount of money for the straw, and I went to the lady behind the till and I apologized to her for what I did. She was an incredibly kind, warm old lady, and she always had kids going in and out of her store, and so I just sat there, with the straw and money in hand, and she actually leaned over to me and I'll never forget what she told me. She said stealing makes people very sad, especially your parents, and if you promise me you'll never steal again, I'll let you keep the straw to remind you of your promise. And I'll tell ya, I had the straw with me ever since, taken it with me wherever I've moved and stuff, and I haven't stolen anything ever since. Except men's hearts! That was a joke. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story of how I almost purchased my first toy with some very sad pocket money.
Hi there, my name's Danny and I'd like to talk about my pocket money memory toys from a long, long time ago. So first of all, this is the first one, and I saved weeks and weeks and weeks for this fella. Starsky and Hutch, come in a great package box, brilliant artwork, Starsky and Hutch there, which have lost over the years, and the box is gone. I keep meaning to get a replacement Starsky and Hutch, but haven't done as yet. But I think it's great condition considering all the bad guys it's chased around the garden over the years. So that's the first one. The second one are these little fellas. These were more my sort of like weekly collection toys. I used to go and get the Beano, and I used to get one of these when and if I could. So I've still got 80 plus of these. Still got them, yeah, so quite fond of the little fellas, don't want to let them go. So unfortunately my action man went on the mission and didn't return somewhere along the way. Can't remember how, when, where or why, but I missed the fella. I had the bearded one. So those were the 3 real toys that were important to me. These were the 3 real toys that were important to me over the years, so I thought I'd share them with you.
Like most other kids in the 70s, I really didn't get pocket money like that. Mum would give me 50p to go around the corner and buy a loaf of bread or a pint of milk, and I got to keep the change. But we did have an agreement that at the end of the month, if there was a certain toy that I was after, whatever I'd saved, they would match, and I would be able to get the toy pretty rapidly doing that. For me, the Star Wars thing didn't kick in until just before I saw Empire Strikes Back. My friend over the road, he was the only kid on the block who had a VHS, and we saw Star Wars just before Empire Strikes Back came out. And so for me, the early part of toy collecting or getting toys together was very much superhero based on what I saw on the TV. So it was things like the Amazing Spider-Man, and getting the 12-inch Mego Amazing Spider-Man and things like that. But for me, Batman was where it was at. Adam West's Cape Crusader was the ideal hero for me, along with Captain Kirk, naturally. And they produced this toy way back in the 60s. The die-cast, everybody knows about the die-cast Batmobile that came with the Batboat and the Bat helicopter. And for me, that was the first toy I picked up. And even though it was 1979, early 1980, that was the first toy that I remember purchasing out of my own money. The first toy that I remember picking up, I think it's a 67, 68 blue canopied Batmobile. It came with the Batboat and the trailer with the Batcopter with it as well. I didn't see the film too much later till I was much older, and naturally I wasn't interested in the Batboat or the Bat helicopter. The toy was where it was at. I used to spend hours chasing Kojak's car or Stacy Archie's car around the place, pretending they were the bad guys. But I soon rapidly lost interest in this because about 6 months after buying this, I saw Star Wars, and the rest is history for toy collecting. Star Wars became where it was at, and everybody wanted it, and it was the currency on the playground, and collecting as many as you could. So this, along with Mego Batman and Mego Hulk and all of the other toys that I had at the time, ended up in a big shopping basket and hidden under the bed for years and years. Ironically, this is the only toy that I really have left from my childhood, apart from an X-Wing fighter, but I didn't get that till much later. So this is what I spent my pocket money on.
It was 1986 here in the Philippines. I was in grade 2 in elementary school, and I had like 1 peso a day allowance. It was really small compared to the US dollar, but I could buy these. These are Voltes 5 cards. They were sold in front of my school. It was called Makiling School Elementary School, and these were sold for 50 centavos a piece. So every day I could buy 2 cards, and it comes with bubble gum. Each of these were wrapped individually. Also, they were like blind bags, so yeah. And I collected them, but most of my classmates didn't. They just didn't collect them. They played, they kind of gambled with it. It's called Tex here in the Philippines. It's like you put 2 cards. One card's yours. The other card's your opponent's or your playmates, and then you flip them up like that. You win if your card's up like this, and you lose if your card's down like that on the ground. Yes, and if you lose, you have to pay your opponent 1 card. Yeah, I did also play that, but what I did was I only gambled with my doubles. I only paid up with my double cards.
My story comes from back in 1979. I was 7 years old, and I used to live really close to my grandmother, and every weekend I would stay with her, and she was the one who spoiled me on getting every Star Wars figure. Well, a couple years, but we ended up moving away, and I was gone for a little over a year, and so every chance I got, I tried to go back and stay a weekend with her. It didn't happen a whole lot since we moved. Well, this is 79, and I was down there one weekend, and and I was being good. I was always a mischievous child, and one of my Mama's longtime friends came over, and he seen me that I was there again and stuff. And one of the things he asked me, he said, "Have you been a good boy today?" Because I wasn't a good kid when I was little. I was very mischievous. So, but anyway, I said yes, and my grandmother come in. She goes, "Oh, he's been good today," and everything. So, funny thing is, the guy pulls out his wallet and hands me 3 $1 bills, which to me it felt like $1 million. I'm like, yes, I can go to the store and get me a new Star Wars figure. So anyway, later that evening, my mama, she takes me to the same store that she always took me in that little town to get the Star Wars figures. So we go in, I go straight to the corner of the aisle where the Star Wars were kept. And at that point, I think I was just looking for a stormtrooper, something, the army build a little bit. But anyway, my mama to the left, she's kind of looking around the toy and she goes, "Oh, wow, I hadn't seen that in a long time." I'm like, It caught my attention that my mama was making a comment at a toy. So I turned around and looked and see what she was looking at, and was this a line that I never heard of, and it come from an old TV show that at that point I don't recall ever hearing about. So anyway, my pocket money memory was changed forever when I looked and I seen this right here, the 1979 vintage Flash Gordon. And that's when my grandmother started telling me about the old black and white cereal that Buster Crabbe used to do. And then, and it took years later for me to find it on, I think, the Superstation, TBS or something like that, before I finally got to actually start watching, and I was hooked forever on it. And so that $3 that I got as a 7-year-old, instead of buying Star Wars, which that's what I was all about, was this
My pocket money memory involves searching all around Metro Detroit looking for a Superpowers Robin. Now, eventually I would find this guy, but I remember vividly one day walking into an F&M while on my way to a field trip to the Kellogg's Cereal Museum and finding this Wonder Woman, using my field trip money to purchase Wonder Woman. I was also looking for her, and it just so happened to have been there in that summer of 1985, and I picked her up, and I pretty much got in trouble for it because I used all of my field trip money to purchase the Superpowers Wonder Woman with the nice bracelet action right there.
One of my fondest pocket money memories is from a Saturday back in 1987. I used to get 50p a week as pocket money on a Saturday, and I'd been saving them up for 6 weeks. But I'd also been washing cars in my street the weekend before, and I'd managed to get a few more quid. So altogether I had £5, which, at the time, was enough to get a new Teenage Mutant Hero Turtle, or a Transformer, maybe a Combiner. So I'm thinking perhaps I'll get a Technobot or a Seacon. But upon entering Jolly Giant, the big toy superstore where I grew up, I didn't even make it to those respective aisles. Something else grabs my attention. The Micro Machines Travel City drive-through fish and chips. This totally captivates me, and I don't even look back. I'm hooked, and I blow all of my pocket money on it. It was a totally unexpected purchase, and it's a memory that I hold dear as I worked really hard to save that money and to earn that little bit extra to get me there. It's a toy that has never left the collection, and whenever I see it on the shelf, it fills me with absolute nostalgia feels. It's my fondest pocket money memory.
So that's it for episode 4. We had some really lovely stories again and really nice memories of people saving up their pocket money to buy that special toy. If you'd like to appear in the next episode, then drop me a line and send in your videos, because really this whole series is about your memories and your stories. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thanks very much, toy-polloi, for all you do. Love your videos. I've watched every single one, and I look forward to them coming out. So thank you. Take care all.